Hello guys and welcome back to the glorious non-gaming channel. I'm your savage host Kaput, and today we're gonna be talking Enshrouded tips and tricks. For our first tip, let's kick it off with something basic. In order for you to conquer the world of Embervale, you will need to master 3 mechanics. That's the grappling hook, jumping and gliding. So I do recommend you put a point in double jump and as well a point in updraft in order to keep you gliding for a little bit longer. As for the grappling hook mechanic, build the best one that you can as soon as you can, as it is required for you to traverse the terrain and also to complete the puzzles. Here we have a small example of the use of the grappling hook. Complete a puzzle. Double jump always comes in handy. If you think you cannot make that gap, double jump might just get you there. But once you've mastered the grappling hook, you're going to understand that you can do it from multiple angles, even while gliding. So keep that in mind. Even if you are gliding, you think you're going the wrong way, just press that E and grab on with the grappling hook. That might just redirect you in the correct, in the correct direction. Let's glide a little bit. And while we do that, let's talk about the function of the updraft. So when you believe that you are not going to reach the distance and the destination that you are aiming for, you can always use your updraft to increase the height and thus gain more of a distance in order for you to make it your objective. If you don't like the way the character rolls when you end the gliding, you can end it prematurely by pressing right click, and that will stop your character from rolling, as I just did. Let me show you that one more time. No rolling, we just stop. Right click will stop you exactly where you want to go. It makes an extra sound like an updraft ability being triggered for me, because I have the archer build, and every single time I press right click and I'm in the air, it floats for a little bit, allowing me to shoot some arrows. In order for you to actually craft the glider, you are going to need shroud wood. And of course some shroud spores. Everything else you can find from the animals and you can manufacture without having the need to go into the shroud. But in order to find the shroud wood and the shroud spores, you must go into the shroud. The first location that you're going to have access to is going to be right next to this first bridge. When you spawn in Enshrouded, you spawn over there in that structure at the top of the hill. And your first encounter with the shroud is going to be in a cave right next to it, but that cave only holds a handful of enemies. Now, in order to get into the shroud easily, in and out, you don't go across the bridge, you follow this path down. This path is going to lead you into the shroud and also give you an easy way out. Once you make it here, you should always collect some of these, as they will give you the liquid, shroud liquid, that you're going to require for chests and other items. But you should also prioritize chopping down some trees to get that good shroud wood that you need for your first glider. And since you're doing it, do try and chop a few extra trees. As you will need more and more of this wood as you keep progressing through the game. There are multiple trees on this side and a lot more of the shroud liquid. It's faster and easier to just collect the ones that allow you to trigger, to pick them up with E, than it actually is to chop some of these down, as the amount you get is not greatly increased. So it's just easier to run through them and gather those. And the shroud spores, you get them from the enemies. Some of them will carry them, some of them will not. So don't be shy. Go into combat. As you can see, it can bring you shroud spores, which you require in order to make that glider. So let's move on. I believe that double jump is self-explanatory as in what it does. Jumping in this game will only get you so far. And with all the verticality in it and all the hills and all the towers and all the puzzles you need to complete, it will be a bit difficult for you to do that with just normal jump. While double jumping can help you reach heights that normally you would not be able to. It is one of the most important skills to have in this game. And when you combine gliding and double jumping, as you can see, you can reach different angles, different locations that normally would be out of reach for you. So yes, please do invest in these points. Double jump, updraft, and of course, later on when you get the ability to pull yourself towards large targets or to pull flying enemies towards you, do invest in those points for the grappling hook as well. They are so good. Trust me, you're going to love playing with these 3 upskilled mechanics. For our second tip, I can't stress enough how important this is, but guys, you really need to prioritize the elixir wells. As you can see on the map, I've cut down most of the elixir well shroud routes. I think I still have one here. Yep, that's the one, and I probably have some in the Black Mire where I haven't spent too much time, as I did not find the zone to be that interesting or important for the progression of the game, so I've kind of just ran through it and done the main quests and out. But as I've said, elixir wells are highly important. Not only that they clear the area, and they allow you to teleport out of the shrouded area, because there will be no shroud left after you cut down the shroud tree. Yeah, don't worry, they will respawn. However, you only get 1 skill point the first time you take them down. And that's the most valuable thing that you can get out of this. And that's why it is so important for you to prioritize the elixir wells. What I would recommend is that if there are lots of forces surrounding it, don't fight them, just glide inside and glide straight to the shroud route, if you can see it from this point here. As I can see it over there, the moment you can see it, glide to it. Defeat the enemy if you feel the need to, or you can just chop, 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 chop. And then defeat your enemy. Sometimes you can take them by surprise. They won't expect you to be jumping in and cutting the shroud route off. And once you're done, as you can see, the area is cleared. I'm no longer enshrouded. And now you can go look around for chests, resources, items. And you might just find a treasure trove. Just watch out for these traps. And as you can see, chopping down things give you resources that you will need early on in the game. So yeah, plus an extra skill point for every single shroud root you take down. Just keep in mind that it only gives you the skill point the first time you destroy it, okay? So doing it like I've just did, destroying one that I've done a few times, is not that useful for you unless you're in the shroud and you're trying to get out of the shroud fast and you have no other solutions. Yeah, dive in, chop it down, teleport out. So now it makes it that simple. But do prioritize them. They are very, very important for the skill points that you require. And you're going to require a lot of them. Just look at this massive skill tree. And right now I'm playing a bit of a hybrid build. I'm both capable in melee and ranged combat, as it is required for the late game. I have 121 points. There are still a few shroud roots out there for me to conquer and gain a few more points. But that's about where you'll be in the late game, at least as it stands for now in the mountain biome update. This tip, guys, is a bit more about combat and about finesse and understanding the skills. But my advice would be for you to make sure that your skills are synergetic. So what do I mean by that? Is, for example, your double jump skill is very good for a synergy with the bee sting skill that you have in the archer tree, because you can spend more time in the air shooting at your target, allowing you to both avoid damage, right, and get in more shots. Now this skill for me also synergizes well with the multi-shot ability and of course the eagle eye, because not only that I can jump higher, stay longer in the air, but I can also shoot arrows at multiple targets. As you can see right there, the multi-shot procced, so instead of one arrow I shot two of them. If you are melee, for example, your double jump will greatly synergize with your jump attack, and of course jump attack too, but it can also help a lot with your merciless attack and evasion attack. How that is because these special abilities are block breakers. So if you use them right in a correct combo, so you jump into the crowd, you hit them with the jump attack too, because you're at a higher height, right? No pun intended. When you do the jump attack, you're going to increase your enemy's block bar. That sets them up for a merciless attack. So that's what I mean. You have many other synergies within the build trees, depending on your playstyle. You should always focus and prioritize the skills that can create combos that will unleash devastating attacks upon your foes. This is another very important skill, which is really, really good, especially early on if you are struggling against big enemies that can stun you or immobilize you. You should get this ability that replaces your dodge roll And it also gives you the ability with this extra node here so that you can actually escape from the stun, which is so good. So keep that in mind when you're putting the points into your build. Make sure you follow a path that is synergetic. Just remember that combining powerful skills with high mobility skills will make you a force to be reckoned. Okay guys, let's go a little bit deeper into combat and discuss why I believe it is a very good idea for you to carry all of your weapon types with you. And by all I mean at least one of each type. Like for example melee, ranged, and of course magical weapons. At this point in the game, I think the wand is the best weapon, as it requires no ammo. It does elemental damage and it can do a multiple of types. Let me just have a look. This one does shock and fire damage. And you should always upgrade your weapons. Even the low level ones, if they are at your level and you are using them, upgrade them. When you get better weapons, when you dismantle these weapons and you salvage them, as you can see, you get some of the money that you've put into upgrading that weapon back. So you don't lose that much. And for all other weapons that you do not use, dismantle them and salvage them into runes, because you're going to need them to upgrade the higher tier weapons that you're going to find later on. The legendary tier, as you can see, they have a lot of upgrades available, right? Every single one of them has 5. And they all give you certain things. While the lower rarity ones may only have 2, 1, none, 3, and so on, right? Depending on the rarity. And this is for weapons. The rings and stuff, they do not have that kind of upgrade availability. So for the armor and the rings, it's not possible. You also cannot salvage them, which I think it's a bit of an oversight on the developers' behalf, but hopefully that will change in the future. But yeah, always carry at least one of each weapon type with you. The wands are the best weapons right now, as they don't need any ammo. They're only based on durability, so if you carry enough of them, you will never have a worry about ammo, about running out of the ability to hit your enemies. It is very easy while wearing a wand to kite your enemies, as the wand goes with the shield. So you can block, you can attack, block, parry, attack. So you can keep it on rinse and repeat. Synergizes quite well with the one hand. You can swap easily between them while still maintaining your ability to block. Ranged is always needed in the game, from puzzles to distant mobs that you want to take out first, like for example the ranged ones, archers and so on. So regardless of your actual playstyle, my advice to you is to always carry at least one of each weapon type. Trust me, you're gonna need it. And you should also keep in mind that certain weapons, as you've just seen on mine, have certain elemental damage on them. Like for example, this one has shock and fire. Fire damage on the axe. Fire damage on the bow. Shroud damage on this other bow. Use these elemental bonuses to your advantage. Some enemies are weak to certain types of elemental damage. That's why keeping multiple weapons with you will always come in handy. And in case your weapon does break and you cannot find one of the anvils to fix it, or you don't want to teleport back, you still have secondaries to fall onto. As a bonus tip to this one, I always carry 2 of my main weapons with me. So because I'm playing more of a range build, I'm carrying 2 bows with me, which have been maxed out, and they have different stats on them. One does shroud, while the other one does fire damage. So yeah, always carry at least 1 of each weapon type. Always take advantage of their elemental damage. It will make your life way easier. As one tip leads into another, since we've discussed weapons, we should also talk a little bit about the durability of those weapons and the way to repair them. All you need to do in this game to repair your equipment is to open your workbench. You can see it, left hand top side, all items repaired just by opening the workbench. You should always do that when you return back to your base, and when you're out exploring, keep an eye on the anvils that you find on the map, because those can repair all of your equipment while you're out in the field. In order for you to upgrade the weapons, you need to visit your blacksmith, select the second option at the top over here that says enhance equipment, select the weapon that you wish to upgrade, and remember that it will cost you runes to do so. There we go. We've just added a +4 cutting damage on this axe. Second upgrade will give us +3 cutting armor. Next one gives you another 5 cutting damage. The following one, hit damage increased by 20%. And the last upgrade here would be critical hit chance increased by 5%. We just run out of runes. But you get the idea. Every single upgrade will bring something very good for your weapon. As you can see, all the ones that I use have been fully maxed out. And don't worry about the money. You're gonna get some of that money that you spent on upgrading them back when you salvage. Salvage all the weapons that you do not use. You will need the runes. Trust me, you will need a lot of them. Here's what the anvil that can repair your equipment looks like. You also get the prompt to repair your equipment once you get close to it. It takes a little bit, but it does the same thing as the workbench. Only it does it for you when you're out and about. So do keep an eye on them. They are very useful. For the next tip, I'm just gonna say explore all biomes thoroughly. From collectible resources that you can just pick up to hidden treasures like this one here, to various plants, and animals, some which now you can tame. There's always good loot for you to find. And necessary resources. Not only that I can collect all of these mushrooms for my potions, but we can also get some of the soil used to grow them. Now, my backpack's full because I've been picking up way too many things. But as you can see, you don't need to make farm soil, you can just collect it. You can easily harvest it from a farm. As a bonus for this, when you do decide to make your own farmland, you don't need to have a lot of soil in order for you to be able to I need a flame altar, that's true. Let's just put this one down, because it's not a problem. In order for you to make the farmland easy, you hold out, go down to the terrain selection, select this. As you can see on the right hand side, I have farm soil selected. And if I were to put it here, instead of putting another one next to it like that, what you can do is escape from this, select your rake, and just move the farmland around. That conserves the amount of farmland you actually need. And once you cover a large enough area, and this works with fertilized farm soil as well. If you do this, you will get some of that farm soil back. And because placing it down only costs you 1, it's a glitch from which you can actually make a ton of farm soil, including fertilized farm soil. We're gonna deactivate this one, as it is not required. And we're going to move to another biome. So now you know how to build a large area for farming with very low costs to the actual farm soil required. When I say thoroughly inspect all the biomes, because they all hide something, from minerals to plants to, in this case, a massive bone, which you can actually mine. And not only that, but you also get something quite good. Fossilized bone. In the same region, you may have metals, plants. If it looks like you should hit it with a pick or an axe, or kill it and loot it, that's exactly what you should do in this game. So yeah, do keep that in mind. Inspect all biomes thoroughly. Make sure you acquire all the plants, all the tameable animals, and all the other resources that can be either mined or chopped, because you're going to need them. And after you've filled your bags, go back to your base. And in order to easily arrange them to the chests in which you already have resources of the same type, when you open the chest, press Shift R for just the loot that is already within the chest to be moved from your bag into the chest. This is going to help you tremendously to manage all of the stuff that you're going to get from every single biome. Also, when you are out and about, do not overlook these red glowing items, whether they're like books or pieces of paper or scrolls. They hold information. They might also hold new quests, which will really help you out in finding different things. They could also point to hidden treasure, which is always good. If you see entrances like these, remember that they can be mined. And there may be treasure on the opposite side, or just a better route of access for you. Found a hidden treasure. Nope, just a hidden chamber. But there's probably something behind that piece as well. Just remember that it can give you treasure or an access path. So don't ignore the messages and the obvious sign that things are hidden. Either behind a wall or, you know, some rubble like you saw just now. Over there as well. It's a clear sign. A clear sign that something is there. Nope. Closing the door can keep some of the enemies out. There we go. See? More things to read, more information, new lore, and it might also add a new location on your map for you. Carry lockpicks with you when you're out exploring. As you can see, you can find some really nice and really useful things, from cosmetics to items to quests. You should always pay attention to your environment. Oh. Clearly I did not pay enough attention. As I just fell off. So watch your step. Grab the items. Yep. Keep that in mind. Pay careful attention when exploring environments. Know your limitations and how you can overcome them. Like I just did with double jump, get the higher position so that I am safe from all of my enemies until I can reassess and reevaluate the situation. As one thing leads into another, so do these tips. Most of them do lead one into another. When you are out and about, gather everything and anything you can. If you have slots in your bags, it means you're not carrying enough stuff. Resources can be scarce sometimes. Many times over, you'll find yourself in need of items from previous biomes that you just discarded or did not take because you consider that you will not need them going forward. You will need them, especially when it comes to metal scrap. Always loot it, always make it a priority. Food you can grow, you can craft, but when it comes to the metal scraps, you will need them. So yeah, collect them, harvest them. And remember that you can also get resources from destroying certain things. And alongside wood, you might get metal scraps. Harvest anything and everything you can. Because sooner or later you're gonna have a need for them. Even sand. Even more resources, see? More metal scrap. More loot just laying around, which you should collect. Look at how many things we got just from this area alone. And when you're on the road, running around, keep your eyes opened. There's resources everywhere in this game. Like over here, where we have some lapis lazuli, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And do not forget about upgrading your tools. You should always make them a priority. Even over gear. Because the better the tools, the better the gear is gonna be at the end of that. Better tools have a higher yield. It takes less time for you to gather things. And the durability is also better. Watch your environment. Do not rush into things while exploring. You don't want to die and have to chase your corpse afterwards. So reevaluate your situation. Get the higher position, like Master Kenobi used to say. You get the high ground and you watch your enemies. This way you can make an informed decision whether it's a good idea to do this. And take out an entire group because you had sufficient confidence that you can. Or you might make the mistake of shooting one enemy and then ending up with more enemies coming at you. So yeah, that's it for the exploration part. This game does look beautiful. Night or day, it does look beautiful, doesn't it? For the next tip, I guess it's better to show you, which is learn your enemy's rotations and what they're capable of. This one's gonna throw a grenade. You see how easily you can deal with them once you understand what their attack patterns are. Their range. But if you learn your enemy's patterns, you will have an easier life. As well as the range. There was nothing it could do because I was outside of its range. Once you get used to them, even when they surprised you, like it just happened with this one, it's still not enough. It becomes a reflex once you get used to what the mobs can do, what your enemies can actually do. So yeah, it pays a lot to pay attention, understand your enemies, understand their rotations. I did dodge that, but it still hit me. And there's still a little bit of work to be done there from the developers, because you do not become fully intargetable when you dash like this. Whether you use the magical blink or you dodge roll because you don't have the points in it yet, there's still a chance of you getting attacked. So if your HP is low, don't risk it like I did. You have no reason to. But yeah, overall, learning your opponent's patterns, their abilities, the succession in which they use those abilities pays off. Trust me on that, it pays off. Study your enemies. There we go. Restore time within the shroud, but we're not actually in the shroud, are we? Yeah, so there are still some things that need a little bit of work. But overall, when it comes to combat, if you can remember their attacks, their patterns, the abilities, and what they can do when you're at range from them and so on, like you've seen the archer throwing a grenade when I was approaching. If you understand and remember these things, you'll be on the safe side. It will be easier for you to explore. Your enemies will not be that dangerous. I wanted to fight the boss here. Oh, and I did manage to get in there. Here we have a boss. He's got the breath now, which doesn't actually follow you, it's static. Unlike the last dragon, he leaps at you, and that will do damage. He will spin around and do melee damage if you are too close. I think I just hit him when he was casting. He barely started casting. Let's allow him to start casting again. Come on. I know what you're gonna do. It's not gonna work. Now he spits from above. He does it again. Come on. See, learning your enemy's patterns and rotations. See? Can help you easily defeat them. Without even breaking a sweat. So that's what I mean when I say learn your enemy's rotations. I remember when I first fought this wyvern that I've actually understood what it was doing and how to damage it while I was fighting it, just by staying at a distance and observing what it's doing. So yeah, take your time, be patient, give enemies time to do what they do, understand what they are doing, and find a solution to counter that. For the last tip, I would like to say that it would be in your best interest, if you do love this game, to stay updated with patches, community notes. The game is still evolving, lots of updates to come. Maybe new biomes, new bosses, new strategies. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe if you haven't already. The YouTube tools are showing that about 97% of people watching my content are not subscribed yet. Leave a like if you did, and please, in the comment section below, share your experience in the game, share some tips with the community. That's been it from me, guys. I'm Oskaput. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. You have a great day.